Broden, thank you.
All right, thank you, Alfred. Certainly a perspective, that I had no idea that the federal government was calling us animals. They certainly are trying to treat us like animals. But what a powerful observation that obviously that has implications within the legal system. And we do have a judge here, and he didn't ask a question. I was seeing if David was going to stand up. We have David Evans, who is running for place 2 in the District Court 5. Court of Appeal 5, yeah. So David is here, and we appreciate you being here, David, a constitutionalist that you are. Our next speaker is Miki Booth. Miki Booth is with us today from Oklahoma, and we're excited about having her. Miki is originally from Hawaii and moved to Oklahoma with her husband and her son in 1995, hoping to retire one day with some land and a few horses. When Obama appeared on the scene running for president, Miki, with her Hawaiian background, recognized right away that Obama was not who he claimed to be, being from Hawaii. Red flags and the hair on the back of her neck went up as every stone she overturned revealed frightening links to an anti-American radical. A family history of communism, and it got worse as she saw him lie about his Muslim faith. Miki ran for Congress in the historic midterm elections against a Blue Dog Democrat, and she didn't win the race. She pulled out the race to support someone else. But Miki continues her close relationship with Atla Church in Harlem and has been a guest host on the Manning Report for Pastor James David Manning. She is the author of a new book entitled Memories of a Community Organizer from Hawaii. Miki, would you come and address us, please?
I have kind of a similar problem to Mr. Adask. Instead of it going through the universe and coming back, when new things come into the front of my brain, something falls out the back. So I, I have to rely on a timer here, so I'll know when to shut up and stop talking. My name is Miki Booth, and I'm a community organizer from Hawaii. And I say that to differentiate from the affirmative action community organizer from Chicago. So I understand that there's breaking news as he's finally being vetted. Not thoroughly vetted, because we know that nobody is saying anything about what we all know in this room. And millions of people across the nation know that the man is a forger, a fraud, and has committed, forgery and a number of things, and just, took this country away. And since I know so much more, about Hawaii than any other subject, I'm going to kind of speak about what I know about Hawaii. The breaking news is that his radical, friends and people that he grew up with are finally coming to light. They're finally talking about it, and they're really going into the fact that, the time that he spent in Hawaii was time spent with radicals, Marxists, anarchists, socialists, dopers, tokers, smokers, cokers, all of that's who he hung out with. Those were his friends, and he was involved, in drug dealing. Had he ever been caught on this, you know, he would not be qualified to be president. Well, we know he's not qualified to be president for a number of reasons. Anyway, I've been like ever since I got into this, and checked into his background. At first I thought, oh, this is really cool. Somebody from Hawaii is going to be, is running for president. So, now my timer went off. I'm so sorry. Somebody just give me a message when we'll go wrap it up like that. But anyway, we know how Obama, you know, who he was and what he did in Hawaii. And he was totally, you know, not a local boy. And I want to point out a real local boy, somebody that, you know, grew up surfing and fishing and doing all the wonderful things that you can do in a lot of people call it paradise, you know, of Hawaii. And that's my husband. This is the first time, today is very special, this is the first time he's been able to come with me to an event that I'm going to speak at. And I want you to stand up. This is a real Hawaii boy, okay? That's my husband, Fred. Normally, he stays home while I travel. He takes care of the animals and just holds the fort and has really been my rock and supporter so that I am able, you know, to come to events and speak to people. The latest news, probably a lot of people have been hearing about what's happening in Arizona and the deal with Hawaii, you know, not wanting to give up that information. They absolutely refuse to show the real birth certificate because they don't have it. It's not there. So the latest thing they came out with, Ken Bennett from Arizona, the Secretary of State, you know, went around with them for 6 weeks and they finally came out with a deal. They said, we just want confirmation that the birth certificate exists. Confirmation. So they ended up getting a form that they hastily put together, just like they did that forged copy that they put on the whitehouse.gov website. And let me find that for you so I can show you what it looks like. And I'm not finding it. You see what happens? Something dropped out the back because I learned something new. But anyway, there's 12 points on it where they have all of the information that it's supposed to contain. And, you know, it's the time of birth, the hospital, the place where the parents were born, yada, yada, you know, all the way down. And what is missing, there's several things missing. First off, the date of birth. It doesn't even have that on the confirmation. Confirmation, I guess they call it. And also what's missing is the birthplace of, the names of the mother and the father. Missing, not even on there. Okay, and the fourth thing that's missing is the happy face on Alvin Onaka's signature. You know, when I talking to people and they were somebody asked me, he says, is this a birther event that's happening in Dallas? And I said, no, why? You all know what I mean by that, right? The original birther. So, and this is what, this is what the whole left, the other side is doing, is trying to get people, you know, to focus, you know, they keep bringing up this birther thing and about the birth certificate, but we know that that's not, you know, what this is all about. We're going to keep on fighting to regain our country. And for every one of us here and millions of people across the United States, that, you know, we have the blood of liberty flowing through our veins, and we will never sit down, we're never going to shut up until we regain our constitutional republic for the glory of God. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, stand by. Anyone have any questions for Miki? Any questions? If you do, would you make your way to the microphone and speak directly in the microphone? We are recording this, so we need to get your voice nice and clear and loud. Here you go, Miki.
Miki, we still really don't know who this person is that's occupying the White House right now. And it's long been a question of mine. Do you think it's possible that Obama himself does not know the origin of his birth, does not really know the truth about who his father is, what his bloodlines are. I mean, there's really, short of a DNA test, there's so little information out there. How do we know who he really even is?
We don't. He's a composite, just like his girlfriend. And there's more, information and evidence coming out that it's really possible that he's Frank Marshall Davis's son.
That's what I was getting at.
And, Frank Marshall Davis, it's well known, he was in Hawaii. The man is a communist. The man is a pornographer. He's just evil, just like everybody else that's on this team that usurped this country. They're all evil. It's all against us. And we may never find out who the man really is, because the forces that have done everything that they're doing and seem to be getting away with is a powerful, evil force. And that's why I believe what we're doing right here today, like Pastor Broden said, the finger of God, is here. And we know that he's using us to fight this battle, and it's going to happen. There's a lot of pushback, and we're trying everything that we can do, and we'll never stop fighting. And we're just going to keep praying and looking and vetting, and we're gonna find out something. But the only thing we need to know is that this is evil and it needs to be crushed.
Hi, Mickey.
Hey, Gary.
The reason why we're here is because of Mickey. We're from the Tulsa area, and our church meets Friday evening. We didn't go to bed till late, and anyway, praise God, we made it to hear you. I have just a couple of comments before I ask a question, and Mickey and I have communicated. I hope there'll be more people here. Anyway, in Oklahoma, just like Texas and other states, we have 2 senators and representatives, and I email them and send them a lot of letters, and I'm not going to let up. And I exhort every one of you to flood their offices. I am really tired of them hiding the truth, and we don't know how much they're being intimidated. Their lives are probably threatened, but as Mickey knows, one of the senators who's considered the most conservative in the country from my hometown in Oklahoma says he does not believe that this birther stuff is true. It's a conspiracy, implying that I'm in a conspiracy. If there is a conspiracy, it's in Congress. They're all covering up for each other. So I got a second letter from him this week, and he says, I still am not persuaded, but he says, I'm going to look into it. So that's my comment, is we just need to keep it up, and as the lawyer said, not to have any fear, and to keep our back straight and just keep fighting. So my question is, what do you think we ought to do next to keep this pressure up and get the truth out?
With what just happened in Arizona, Ken Bennett, it's people like that just give up so easily, no matter the pressure that he's getting. And that's what we need to do, like you said, keep up the pressure. Now, Ken Bennett, I always like to have a little fun with these politicians, just like I did with with Dan Boren when I ran against him. I challenged him to a marksmanship contest and debate, and he wouldn't answer me, but I got a lot of play in Oklahoma, and now he has decided he's not going to run for re-election, so pretty much he felt the pressure and got out. So what we were able to accomplish, we will for sure have a conservative take his place. Now, Ken Bennett, his email address, I'm going to give it to you, and spread the word, put it on your if you're on Facebook, or send it out in emails, because we all need to tell Ken Bennett that what, he just kowtowed to Hawaii and then ended up apologizing to Arizona for having asked Hawaii to verify the birth certificate in the first place. He's K. Bennett at azsos.gov, KBENNETT at azsos.gov. So when the video comes out on this, everybody's going to have it, and they need to email his office, call his office, whatever, say how disappointed you are, and tell him that he needs to resign.
Okay. Hello, my name is Andrew Deal, and sorry for missing the dress code memo today. Anyway, this is a wonderful meeting. I'm glad to be here. I was one of a few people that saw the birth certificate forgery, or the latest one on the White House website, and checked it out and followed some post I saw about checking for the layers, the Photoshop layers, and it really is layers of things. It's like they made it obvious. Either they're incompetent or they just want to marginalize anybody with a brain you can see with their own two eyes. I was wondering how that's kind of come along. Has there been any kind of impact in just demanding an actual full scan of that document instead of like an OCR scan that has all these different layers of Photoshop layers?
On March 1st, Sheriff Joe Arpaio's posse did a press conference. Mike Zullo, the lead investigator, said that there's probable cause that it is a forgery, and they need to see not the original, but they want the microfilm, because that if it were real, it would be on microfilm. Well, of course, Hawaii is stonewalling. We are never going to get anything from them, ever. Mm-hmm. And they did determine that is a forgery. And in fact, Mike Zullo is in Hawaii right now, interviewing witnesses, trying to get to an interview with Alvin Onaka, he's a globalist, and he's been in Hawaii since '95. He's the one that is involved, the biggest one involved in this whole deal, Mm-hmm. And but anyway, they know that is a forgery. They proved it. If you've seen the video of the press conference, it's all over the internet. And if you go to WorldNet Daily, you can probably get it the easiest. But it shows, it explains.
Is there any outside people that are starting to weigh in and say, yeah, that's an illegitimate form of proof that the White House put on their blog?
Yes.
Is it expanding beyond
it is, but nothing from the lamestream media, and not from the rhinos, they are not going to do anything with this. And even the Tea Parties, and I've found out that that all of the major Tea Parties will not talk about the eligibility issue or about finding out, the news that the birth certificate is a forgery. And I just want to point out that all of the Tea Party people that talk on the TV will never touch the issue. And but there are Tea Parties that are doing it, and one of the ones that are really out there big time talking about Obama's ineligibility is teaparty.org, and we have the founder, Dale Robertson, sitting right over here with his camera, and they also every night, Tea Party Radio. Go there and listen to it. There's a show every night, and they've asked me to be a regular, so every Wednesday night I'm on the show with Dale Robertson and Jim Siegfried, Peggy, and others.
Someone asked what you plan to do next, and I was wondering if you've been looking at the 20th Amendment.
I have to admit that I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
here's
not real
why.
strong.
Because the 20th Amendment, it's Section 3, and I can't quote it for you exactly, but the 20th Amendment deals with the election of the president. And it says that the president, if the president-elect shall not qualify, then the vice president takes his job until someone does qualify. And what that implies is that from the moment someone is elected president in November until he actually takes office in January, there is supposed to be some sort of a qualification process. Now, I don't know exactly what that process is, but someone should have been checking to see whether this guy was born in this country or some other country, and I think I suspect that if you look at the 20th Amendment, again, I think it's Section 3, you'll see this. And there's a qualification process. I assume it's to be performed by Congress, maybe the Senate. I don't know who does the qualification process. Something's there. And in a last case, if you can't stop Obama from being elected, you know, you may be able to still have another fallback position, or you can say we still want to go after his qualifications under the 20th Amendment. So.
Okay, thank you for that. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm not real strong about that. I know about Hawaii, what's happening at the Department of Health. I know who the, the players are in Hawaii. There's the Assistant Attorney General that sent out that confirmation to the one that brought it up, and he's the one that was stonewalling with Arizona. That man's name is Joshua Weiss, and Assistant Attorney General now. Previously, in the past, he was the chairman for Howard Dean for president in Hawaii campaign. So that's who that player is. Another player is, well, you know Abercrombie, the doper, smoker, toker, Marxist, communist, it's all the same thing to me. The lieutenant governor is Brian Schatz. Now, Brian Schatz was head of the DNC in Hawaii. He's the one that is totally involved in that second OCON that Nancy Pelosi had to sign. If you'll remember that Obama was called back to Hawaii during the campaign because of his dying grandmother. In reality, the Hawaii Elections Commission did not accept that one from the first one from Nancy Pelosi because it did not say according to the Constitution of the United States on that official nomination form. So Schatz had to do some real quick acrobatics, you know, in these forms. So that's why Obama went there, had a meeting with them, got the paperwork application signed before the deadline, and that's how all that went down, and Schatz is the one that did that.
I just wanted to make a comment that goes back to the reason why Hawaii won't provide the microfilm or the microfiche of the original birth certificate. And I think one of the things you forgot is the irony that they are claiming that they cannot show it because they're protecting his privacy. And I think that that's just ludicrous. And I just wanted, I know you know that, and you just didn't say it, but it's just...
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing there, and I actually had a showdown with the Department of Health in the records division. I went there to apply for a copy of Fred's birth certificate and our son's birth certificate because they were both born in Kapiolani, 30 years apart. So when I got there, of course, Onaka wasn't there, and even if he were, he would never talk to any of us. Well, I spoke to the guy in charge who's got all of the answers, all of these answers or reasons or whatever, why they changed it to where you can't get a copy of your birth certificate anymore, that you can only get a computer printout, and it's a short form. That was that first piece of junk, I call them, that he had on the internet in 2008 during the campaign, and he said that Robert Gibbs got a copy of the short form I'm talking about and put it on the campaign website. Well, he said he asked for it in about June of 2008 during the campaign, but that particular copy is dated June 6, 2007, a year before they asked for it. So we know that this is all, lies and stonewalling, and I mean, they come up with the most audacious answers. But when I had the showdown and I said I want a copy of the long form, they said, you can't get that. And I said, well, Obama got it. And he says, well, you have to have a court order to get that. And I said, that's not what I understand. I understand that he just signed a privacy release, his lawyer did, and they gave him 2 certified copies. That's the story he told the world. But anyway, he says, well, you'll have to talk to Onaka about that. And I said, Onaka, and where's Onaka? Well, he was in Guam at the time. And I said, well, he works for Hawaii, but he's in Guam, And they said, well, you just have to talk to Onaka. And finally, I asked him, I said, so nobody can get the long form anymore? And he says, that is the long form. And he's indicating this short form. And it just blows my mind that, here's the whole, truth is lies and black is white, and all of these things. And I go, that's the long form? And he says, yeah. And I says, well, if that's the long form, I pulled out Obama's copy and I said, then what do you call this? So, and then again, he says, well, you'll have to talk to Onaka. And I says, well, I'm only here for a day or two and I have to go back home to Oklahoma. So he says, well, you want to talk to the second in command, the assistant to Onaka? And I said, yeah, I do. So he got him on the phone and I heard him say, we got a couple of brothers here. And then that guy would not come out and talk to me. So I had fun that day. I mean, people were listening to what's going on and they're like, oh my goodness, these people are insane.
Okay, if I understand the Constitution right, the term natural-born citizen means both mother and father being born in the United States to be a natural-born citizen. And from what I understand, the reason that the Congress and our rhinos haven't pushed this issue is because in the wings we've got people like Bobby Jindal and Marco Rubio that are also not natural-born citizens that they have on the short list for future candidates for president or something like this. So there's some hidden agendas there that we need to have brought forward, and
oh yeah,
I'm ashamed that our Congress would allow this monstrosity to continue without bringing it to a head.
Right. And the parents don't necessarily need to be born in the United States. The natural-born citizen means born in the country to parents who are themselves citizens. Now, had Marco Rubio, who they're pushing this guy, and he's not eligible. His parents got naturalized in 4 years after he was born. They lived in the country for years, but they waited until 4 years after Rubio was born to apply and get naturalization. Well, you become you're a full-on citizen if you go through the naturalization process. You've got to learn English. You've got to pass a test. And then you get sworn in, and you are a citizen. You have relinquished any, ties to whatever country you came from, whatever government. That is gone, and you're a citizen. And Jindal is the same way. He was born here. His parents, his mother was pregnant when she came here, and they were both citizens from India at the time. Now, they may have been naturalized after that, but at the time Bobby Jindal was born, they were not. Now, in the Constitution, the Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5, a natural-born citizen or a citizen at the time of the signing of the Constitution. And the reason that it was a citizen at the time of signing of the Constitution is because they grandfathered themselves in, because none of them, as far as I know, were born here. They were all born from somewhere else. So they grandfathered themselves in, and that's how that worked. But by stating a natural-born citizen, they're one generation removed, I believe, to be a natural-born citizen after that. So I hope I explained that okay.
Thank you, Miki. Thank you, Miki. Okay, we're going to move on. We're pressing on. We're just a few minutes behind, and I think we can make it up a little bit, but at the same time, we want our next guest to take as much time needed.